What is good, guys? Welcome to the YouTube channel Camera Crashcourse. I'm your host. I'm going to be showing you guys how to remove the background from any image using Photoshop. Two different methods that I use all the time. It works with composites, it works with just cleaning up something, it works with putting different background all together. So if you guys are interested in doing that, stay tuned and let's get into it. Alright guys, so to begin off the tutorial, I'm going to show you how to do this most simple and the easiest way of actually moving a background from an object. So as you guys can see here, this is going to be the image that I did. So I cut off the sky, as you guys can see right in here. I take out the sky and replace it with my own background, the Milky Way. If you guys are interested in knowing how to edit the Milky Way, leave a comment and I may make a video on how to edit the Milky Way for you guys. Anyways, off track here. So as you guys can see, we removed the sky and we just have this mountain here. This is a mountain in Iceland. I forget the name. If I can find it, I'll put it on screen. If not, go look it up by yourself. So over here we have the magic wand tool. Right click on it and go over the quick selection tool. Go ahead and click on this. Now this is the easiest way of doing it. You just click and hold and then it'll draw the line for you. And then as you guys will notice, if I click the make selection icon down here, it leaves this weird line in between it and it didn't select the part we wanted to. So instead, we're going to go select, inverse it, select the area. So everything inside this line is going to be kept. Everything outside of it is going to be erased. Like so, we now erased it. And now we can put the Milky Way behind it. What you're seeing up here, I'm actually not sure what that is for 100%. I think it's from having this right here. If not, you can just click on this, add a brush, and just, I believe you just remove it. Maybe not. Anyways, guys, so that's the easiest way of doing it. You just use your lasso tool here, or the quick selection tool, not the lasso tool, my bad. The quick selection tool here, just draw yourself a line over it, and you go Control I, which will inverse it, or you can go select, inverse, and then that's the first and easiest way of doing it. Next one. Alright guys, so in cases when the quick selection tool doesn't work and it kind of misses or whatever, so like right here for example, it missed and it went down here. Now obviously guys, if I was to make a selection using this, it's going to chop off that building right there. You know, see if I was able to select and inverse it, we cut off this building right there. Not acceptable, not what we want to do. So we're just going to deselect that, and the way I do this is pretty simple. It takes a little bit longer, but you would get a better selection. We use the pen tool here. So there's different ones you can use here. We have the freeform pen tool, and this one works like you just draw it, like you're painting or whatever. But we're just going to be using the pen tool. Okay, and then we're going to zoom in to the point we want to start. We zoom in until we see the grid of each one of these is a pixel. So that's how far we're zoomed in here. And then we just start clicking. So I like to find like a hard edge here. So this building has like the brick wall coming here, goes to 90 degrees, stops here, and then we click there. All right, and I'm just going to be using this as a reference point, and I just draw with my pen tool. I just quickly draw each direction here, and then every time the building goes in or whatever, I just use the pen tool and draw around. Now, an example where this is useful is in a wedding photography or a wedding edit I did for someone a few days ago. So they wanted a different background in their image. I'll show you right here. They wanted a different background in the portrait that their photographer took. They weren't quite happy with it, so they wanted a different background in it. Now the other selection tools weren't working because everything is even lighting. I'll show you what I mean as I go on down the road here. And the quick selection tool wasn't going to be able to pick them up. It was like cutting the people in half, much like that building did. So I had to use the pen tool, and when it was all said and done, I had around 1,300 different dots. So each one of these dots here is a line linking the two together. And then I had about 1,300 of those. Now let's just say I finished it, so I went across the whole skyline here. I'm not going to do the whole skyline because it takes time, but let's say I went around the whole skyline and I'm coming back to the start. I zoom in here, come back to the start, and I just click on the starting one. It makes a line, it closes the whole thing together, and then I just right click, make selection, and you can feather it out if you want like 2 or 3 pixels feather radius. I'm going to go 0. I typically do 0. Now we have a selection here, and it goes along the building just because we draw this line. So it's our line that we drew, and it goes along that line. Then we can just go ahead and chop it off, and there we go, guys. Now we have the selection perfect. We just chop that building off, and you can hold shift, you turn that off and on, and you guys can see that was the selection we made. Obviously, if you're going to go for the whole skyline, you would do that bit by bit. You would click, 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 all the way around to the end, come back down around the borders, come back up to the starting point, and make a selection. Now here, guys, the photo on screen is my edited version of it. I added the Milky Way into the background. You can go look that on my Instagram at 4K World, link in the description, link on the screen. Anyways, I'm a sellout, but that's how you do the pen tool method. This is my favorite personally. It's super effective, super easy, and it works like a charm every time. There's no missing. The only problem that you could encounter is something you're doing wrong yourself. So that's the easiest way to do it. It's the best and most professional way in my opinion. So that's the pen tool method. I want to move on to the next method. I'm not sure what I would call it, but let's just move on to it anyways. Alright, guys, so this next one is for very intricate and a lot of detail selection. So check this out here. This is a picture of a tree I took in a neighborhood next door to mine. If I was going to go by hand and use the pen tool method for this, that'd be painful. And if I want to use the quick selection tool, it has a problem by just trying to find it. It's not really doing an effective job. As you guys can see, it's jumping all over the place, picking up different pieces. So that is clearly not going to work. But let's say I want to completely remove the background from this. How would I go about doing that? Well, the answer is actually pretty simple, and it takes maybe about 3 or 4 minutes depending on how fast you want to do it. I'll probably do it for you in 30 seconds, so maybe a minute. I'll give myself a minute. Alright, so first thing you want to do, you want to duplicate the layer. I always do that as you don't want to harm the original layer. Just have a duplicate layer. You can always turn this on or off depending what comes down the road. Come over here and click on channels, and then turn off everything except the blue. You could have the green turned on if you wanted to, but I really think you just need to turn off everything but the blue, because that was the way I was taught, and that's what I'm going to teach you guys. It's just easier this way. So just turn off everything but the blue channel. Then go ahead, drag the blue channel over here to this paper page here. It will duplicate the layer, and now we have a selection that's starting to form here. So everything red, you guys can still see there's a little bit of red up here in the sky, but for the majority of everything, the red is going on down here in the black area. Now that's how it's going to work. The way this selection works is everything that is black will be selected, everything that is white will not be selected. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go image, we're going to go to adjustments, and then levels, and we're going to crank up the blacks, crank up the whites, like so, somewhere right around there. That looks good. And then if we want to, we can just paint in black down here later on down the road. I'll show you how to do that. So everything white is going to be not selected, everything black will be selected. So if you zoom in here on the tree, all these little branches or whatever are now black. We can hit the little selection tool. It's a circle dotted line. You can turn everything back on, our RGBs, our red, our greens, and our blues. Turn off the black. Now as you guys can see, the red is the stuff that's selected. So go ahead, turn off that layer, otherwise you're going to have some problems down the road. You can come back to the original layer. You can select inverse, and then you can chop it off. And look, this guys, no more background. The background is completely removed. So I told you that one's pretty quick. That one works really great. In cases where you have a lot of details like branches or whatever, that works the best. As you guys can see, it just perfectly picks up everything. If we turn the layer on top of it on, you guys can see we're not losing, we might lose a little bit of branches, like little tiny branches right there. It picks those up as white, but for the most part, guys, the whole tree is still there, and we were able to remove the background from it, aka the sky. Now as you guys will notice down here in the ground, we have some spots where it's PNG mask or whatever, where it's visible, or where there's nothing down there. So we just take a brush here, we can paint white, and we just go ahead and paint this over. Make sure our opacity is at 100% here, and we go ahead and paint this over, and we're filling in all the details in the ground that might be missing and along here around the edge. So now guys, you can do whatever you want. You can put clouds in the background, you could put a sunset sky in the background, you could put a Milky Way in the background, you could put star trails. Pretty much guys, now that you have a selection like this, it is super simple, and that was probably the easiest one. I hope that helps you guys. So from our first one here, I showed you how to use the quick selection tool to remove some very simple, easy shapes with a hard contrast between the sky and the ground. So that will work for hard contrasts such as dark ground and bright sky. For this one, you can use the pen tool to go in by hand and select everything perfectly and get a really good selection. And on things where there's a lot of different things going on here, you can use the channel selection method, and that'll just take everything away and give you a perfect selection of very hard to select and mask areas. So hopefully this video was helpful for you guys. I'll see you in the outro. Welcome to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, I'm all about photography. I'll show you how to take better, more professional, high quality photos, taking them on film and post-processing them in a high quality professional manner. So if you're interested in learning more about photography and want to up your game, please go ahead, hit the subscribe button, leave a like, drop an encouraging comment, and I'll see you next time on Crashcourse. Have a good day. I'll see you later.